You won't believe your eyes. A real mountain, floating in the air, like it escaped from Avatar, hovering among the clouds, defying gravity itself. A desert in East Africa, glowing with neon yellow and turquoise blue, as if colors are leaking from inside the earth, piercing through the ground. And in Australia, a lake, bubblegum pink, unchanging throughout the year, a pink that defies nature's logic. Even if you bottle it, the color doesn't fade. This is the border where colors are distorted, as if someone with limitless imagination redesigned this world. Step inside, and the world you know and will suddenly become incredibly small. Welcome to the border where reality collides with the impossible. Chapter 1, Socotra Island. 200 miles off the coast of Yemen, a completely isolated island lies. So isolated that a third of its species exist nowhere else. Only here, only on Socotra. For millions of years, it has evolved in complete isolation, drifting silently along the Arabian seashores, like a forgotten fragment broken off from another world. The first thing you notice is the trees, dragon's blood trees, rising on the plateau with their umbrella-shaped crowns. They look designed by human hands, not like plants, but like sculptures. Each branch divides into smaller branches, like upside-down coral. When you cut the bark, the resin turns deep red, thick as turpentine, used for centuries as dye, medicine, and legend. Inland, desert roses grow. Their trunks swell into giant teardrops. Some are so twisted they look frozen mid-motion. They store water inside their bodies, a vivid reminder of the island's brutal seasons. The island hosts incredible wildlife, vibrant reptiles with exotic patterns, birds with unique calls inside isolated valleys, and tarantulas with bright cobalt blue legs, glowing under certain lights. Even the insects seem designed for a completely different ecosystem. The coastline feels almost theatrical. Limestone cliffs extend into turquoise waters. Sand dunes stretch straight to the sea, caves nestled in rock folds, carved by winds that shaped the island long before humans arrived. But what surprises most is the silence. Such complete silence that the whistle of the wind, the murmur of the waves, and your own breathing become strangely prominent. Standing among the dragon's blood trees at sunset, it's easy to imagine you've traveled back 20 million years in time, to a version of Earth never recorded in history books. Could you ever go to a place like this? Share your thoughts in the comments. Chapter 2, Danakil Depression. The Danakil lies 300 feet below sea level, in a rift where the earth has literally split apart. The ground opens into neon lemon yellow and bright turquoise acid pools. Minerals rise in rugged terraces, steaming in the sun. The salt flat stretches so far you lose all sense of scale. Nothing soft exists in this environment. No trees, no animals, sometimes not even shadows that fade into the light. Black volcanic rock meets white salt crust. Sulfur patches glow with such bright yellow, they look artificial. The air carries a sharp mineral taste, a reminder that this place is alive in a way most landscapes are not. Here everything hisses, boils, crumbles, and reforms. The silence grows heavier when you realize you're standing in one of the hottest places on Earth, a region where summer temperatures reach 130 degrees Fahrenheit. This isn't just a desert. This is Earth's open wound. Chapter 3. The Wave. The wave, carved from Navajo sandstone, formed in the Jurassic period nearly 200 million years ago. Its U-shaped basins sculpted grain by desert winds. The rock surrounds you, in red and orange ribbons. So smooth they look fluid, a landscape your eyes momentarily refuse to accept as solid stone. Walking along the walls, the ground rises and falls like gentle swells. Shadows slide through each fold. Even sound changes. Your voice returns in faint, uneven echoes caught in the spirals. Only a small number of visitors enter each day, making the center feel like a place suspended between motion and stillness. This isn't just a rock. This is a frozen ocean wave. Chapter 4. Mount Roraima. Nearly 100 tepuis rise from the forests of southern Venezuela, but Roraima is the largest of them all, a four-sided rock fortress reaching straight into the clouds. Its summit is a stone table formed over 2 billion years ago, one of the oldest exposed rock formations on the planet. Steep cliffs rise, some more than half a mile high. Mist rolls over the edges like slow silver waterfalls, wrapping the plateau in its own weather system. When you climb to the summit, the landscape completely transforms. Carved sandstone corridors, stadium-sized sinkholes, rocks polished by millions of years of rain. Life here has its own rules. Carnivorous plants cling to narrow rock cracks. Tiny black frogs found nowhere else on Earth live in water pockets formed after storms. Standing on the edge, you see the rainforest below, spread like an endless green tide. It's easy to see why early explorers believed the plateau harbored creatures untouched by time, and why storytellers imagined it as a gateway to unexplored worlds. And here's something that will surprise you. Roraima even shaped modern fiction. Pixar modeled the iconic Paradise Falls in Up after the sheer cliffs and flat tops of the Guiana Shield. They drew direct inspiration from the image of Roraima, rising like a monolith through the clouds. This isn't just a mountain. This is a gateway to a forgotten world. Chapter 5. Fly Geyser. In the middle of the Nevada desert, there's a volcanic cone 5 meters high, erupting with colors no natural spring could produce. In the 1960s, a well was drilled, a geothermal pocket was penetrated, and the land responded by building its own monument. Minerals rise with the steam, solidifying layer by layer, forming a cone speckled with red, green, and yellow. Tropical algae add their own hues, turning the surface into a vibrant palette that changes with seasons and light. The geyser is only a few feet high, but it feels strangely alive, small, surreal, and completely accidental. Fly Geyser is proof that even mistakes can create beauty, sometimes beauty no one could foresee. Chapter 6. Wadi Rum. Wadi Rum, hidden in the southern Jordanian desert, an area of 700 square kilometers. This is also the place that records the traces of many ancient civilizations from the Stone Age. Towering sandstone walls rise from flat red sand, the surface eroded by wind into smooth faces and sharp angles. Light moves quickly here. Shadows stretch, collapse, and reshape the valley as hours pass. The landscape is almost empty, and this emptiness makes it unforgettable. Sounds echo across the plain. Even a single footstep sounds louder than usual. As the sun sets, the cliffs turn dark bronze. The sand takes on deep red. The entire valley glows as if lit from within. Chapter 7. Lake Hillier, Australia. Lake Hillier, a permanent pink strip on the edge of Middle Island, staying the same color year-round, even if you bottle it. Just steps from the deep blue ocean, the lake is separated by a narrow strip of sand and eucalyptus forest, making the contrast even more striking. The lake's vibrant color comes from Dunaliella salina, a halophyte that thrives in conditions where most organisms cannot survive. From above, the lakeshore is curved like polished gemstones. On the ground, warm, still air carries the scent of coastal vegetation. A single, consistent pink patch stands out against a backdrop of blues and greens. This isn't just a lake. This is nature's artwork. In Chapter 8, The Great Blue Hole. The Great Blue Hole, more than just a beautiful circle in the Caribbean Sea, nearly 300 meters wide and over 120 meters deep, an entrance to a world that shouldn't exist underwater. This giant marine sinkhole was once a dry limestone cave, formed during the last ice age when sea levels were hundreds of feet lower than today. When the ice melted, rising seawater swallowed the cave. The ceiling collapsed, and what remained was a perfect vertical tunnel plunging into darkness. The upper rim glows and is alive, surrounded by corals from the Mesoamerican Barrier Reef. Reef sharks, midnight parrotfish, and giant groupers patrol the edges, like guardians of the boundary between two worlds. But deeper down, ancient stalactites appear along the walls, some taller than a human head, intact for over 10,000 years underwater. At about 35 meters, the water becomes eerily still. Oxygen dwindles, life thins, again and again. The blue fades to heavy, almost impenetrable black. Here, divers describe an eerie stillness, as if the ocean itself is holding its breath. Chapter 8. The Great Blue Hole. The Great Blue Hole, more than just a beautiful circle in the Caribbean Sea, nearly 300 meters wide and over 120 meters deep, an entrance to a world that shouldn't exist underwater. This giant marine sinkhole was once a dry limestone cave, formed during the last ice age when sea levels were hundreds of feet lower than today. When the ice melted, rising seawater swallowed the cave. The ceiling collapsed, and what remained was a perfect vertical tunnel plunging into darkness. The upper rim glows and is alive, surrounded by corals from the Mesoamerican Barrier Reef. Reef sharks, midnight parrotfish, and giant groupers patrol the edges, like guardians of the boundary between two worlds. But deeper down, ancient stalactites appear along the walls, some taller than a human head, intact for over 10,000 years underwater. At about 35 meters, the water becomes eerily still. Oxygen dwindles, life thins, again and again. The blue fades to heavy, almost impenetrable black. Here, divers describe an eerie stillness, as if the ocean itself is holding its breath. Chapter 9. Spotted Lake. In summer, Spotted Lake looks like someone scattered hundreds of glittering coins across the desert. Each circle is a separate pool, and each pool contains different mineral concentrations. As water evaporates in the Okanagan heat, the lake breaks into perfect circles of gold, green, white, sometimes almost metallic, like a giant chemical palette exposed to the sun. What surprises most visitors is that these spots aren't random. They form because the lake contains one of the densest natural mineral deposits on the continent. Magnesium sulfate, calcium, sodium, and trace elements crystallize into outlines that look artificially created, as if someone hand-drew each pool. Walking along the lakeshore, you can hear the mineral crust cracking in the heat. Some pools turn to gel, others harden into solid shapes. All of them slowly change with the seasons, creating different patterns for the lake each year, as if redrawing itself like a living mosaic. For generations, the indigenous community has regarded this place as a natural healing site. Each pool is said to possess its own unique properties. Chapter 10. Lençóis Maranhenses. A flooded desert, a place with dunes but no drought, a landscape that should contradict itself, yet somehow thrives on that contradiction. Most of the year, this area is a vast white sand field, undulated into waves by Atlantic winds. But when the rainy season arrives, something magical happens. The dunes trap rainwater in the valley, creating thousands of crystal-clear lagoons, each a different shade of blue or green, each temporary, and each so pure you can see sand ripples beneath the surface. What makes this scene even stranger is that these lagoons aren't shallow pools. Some are 3 or 4 meters deep, deep enough to swim in, cold enough to feel like hidden streams in the desert. Fish are still present in the water, despite the absence of rivers, brought in as eggs by seasonal birds, surviving in ways that seem almost pre-designed. From above, the landscape looks like a giant silk sheet fluttering in the wind, dotted with turquoise lenses that change position each year. The lagoons never form in exactly the same place twice, and then when the dry season returns, the water disappears as mysteriously as it arrived, leaving the sand smooth, as if nothing happened. This isn't just a desert. This is an ocean that chooses to disappear. Chapter 11. Vaadhoo Island. Bioluminescence. On Vaadhoo Island, the shoreline lights up at night, as if liquid starlight is washing over the sand. The glow comes from millions of bioluminescent dinoflagellates, releasing luciferin, flashing bright blue when waves break or footsteps disturb the water. Even the slightest movement can trigger an entire stretch of surf to ignite, turning the beach into a living constellation. Under ideal conditions, the glow intensifies, until the waves look like neon lines tracing the shoreline. Maldivians call this phenomenon Redan Munlin, a sight long woven into local stories that speak to the power and mystery of the glowing sea. When you come here at night, you're not just seeing a beach, you're walking in a living galaxy. Have you ever seen anything like this? Which location would you most want to see? Tell us in the comments. Chapter 12. Rio Celeste. An interesting legend gives this river its name. It's said that when God created the universe, he painted the sky. When he finished, he washed his brush in the river, creating the beautiful blue we see today at Rio Celeste Falls. Rio Celeste looks magical even before you reach the water. The rainforest fades, the air cools, and then the river appears, a turquoise so intense it seems lit from within. Amazingly, you see 2 crystal-clear rivers merging at a point locals call El Teñidero, the dye place. The moment they meet, the water turns bright blue in seconds. It's a microscopic reaction. Suspended mineral particles from one river collide with acidic water from the other, coalescing into tiny solid particles that scatter just enough light to create that eerie color. Lakes sparkle. Waterfalls tumble into pools that look painted in a sci-fi movie. Every bend in the river is deep turquoise, as if the entire landscape were bathed in molten sky. This isn't just a river. This is God's paintbrush. Chapter 13, Zhangjiajie. Zhangjiajie's sandstone pillars don't look formed by erosion. They look like they're floating. Hundreds of giant pillars rising straight from the forest. Some so thin and tall they don't seem to balance on anything. Some towers exceed 3,000 feet, each carved over millions of years by water, ice, and wind, cutting into the quartz sandstone from all sides. What remains are vertical spires with flat tops, sharp edges rising from the mist. When clouds roll in, the pillars don't disappear. They float. The bases disappear into the mist. Only the tops remain exposed, like islands floating on an invisible sea. This is the image that inspired the floating mountains in Avatar, and it looks even more incredible in real life. Walking along cliff paths, you hear wind blowing through the towers, as if you're walking through corridors. Some pillars are so narrow you can reach out and almost touch both sides. Others stand in clusters, forming stone labyrinths where sunlight falls to the ground in thin, pale rays. Zhangjiajie is a stone forest, a complete vertical world created not by growth, but by gradually removing everything that once existed around it. Chapter 14, Wave Rock. A granite wall over 12 meters high curves forward in a perfect arc, its entire surface painted with light and dark streaks that flow like liquid metal. The shape is the result of thousands of years of water slowly eating into the rock bed, carving deeper and deeper, until the top protrudes like a wave about to break. Standing at the base of the rock, you see the overhang above, smooth as if polished. Touching the surface, you can feel the small grooves left by flowing water, each millimeter shaping the face of the rock. From a distance, the structure looks like an unrealistic tectonic work, a wave rising from solid ground, frozen just before impact. Chapter 15, Hvítserkur. Hvítserkur stands alone in the water, like a creature that wandered too close to shore and turned to stone halfway. The basalt rock is nearly 15 meters high, its base shaped by waves into arches, as if it has legs, curved, sturdy, and strangely animal-like. Lava once solidified into a solid mass, and centuries of ocean erosion wore away everything except this one stubborn pillar. Seabirds cover the summit, like fluttering feathers, making the silhouette more dynamic than it should be. According to legend, Hvítserkur is a petrified giant troll. This giant troll lives in Strandir in the Westfjords and wants to destroy the bells at Geyser Monastery. Chapter 16, Bungle. The Bungle Range is located in Western Australia's Kimberley region, in the remote northwest of this vast continent. Bungle looks like a giant swarm of bees, dropped into the outback, hundreds of striped domes rising from the plains, in patterns too precise to be random. Each dome is built from sandstone formed over 20 million years of rain and wind. The orange and black bands are literally alive. Dark layers absorb moisture and harbor thin layers of cyanobacteria. Light layers stay dry and reflect heat. From above, the range stretches for miles, in dense clusters, as if Earth had folded this part of Australia into an intricate labyrinth. Narrow gorges run between the domes, some so narrow that only a sliver of sunlight reaches the ground at midday. Inside these chasms, walls rise in perfect curves overhead, and the air suddenly becomes cool, a natural sculpture garden of almost architectural proportions. Chapter 17, Eternal Flame Falls. Near Buffalo, inside a quiet forest, behind a thin layer of water, fire burns where fire shouldn't. Eternal Flame Falls is powered by a pocket of naturally occurring methane gas seeping from ancient shale. Most methane leaks are too dispersed to ignite, but here the gas escapes in a concentrated stream strong enough to sustain continuous burning. The result? A candle trapped inside the waterfall. The waterfall's flame stays still. Even if it goes out in heavy rain, a single match can instantly relight it, and the surrounding rock face, gently warmed by the heat, glowing just enough to make the surrounding mist shimmer with pale orange light. Chapter 18, Hierve el Agua. Hierve el Agua looks like two waterfalls frozen in midair, white streams cascading down the cliffs, without moving. But as you get closer, the truth emerges. These waterfalls aren't water at all. They're mineral deposits formed drop by drop over thousands of years. Spring water rich in calcium and carbonates flows up from the mountain and spills over the cliff edge. As it flows down, minerals crystallize, slowly forming thin layers that mimic flowing water. What you see today is the accumulation of countless ancient drops, preserved in rock, like a time-lapse film made real. Terraces perched on the cliff edge are filled with turquoise water so clear you can see the mineral bands below. Standing on the lakeshore, the valley opens below, while white waterfalls tumble hundreds of meters down the side. It feels like standing in the middle of a geological mirage. Water behaves like rock, and rock pretends to be water. Chapter 19, Yonaguni Structures. Off the coast of Yonaguni, the seafloor suddenly drops into a series of giant platforms. Right angles, straight edges, walls rising so sharp and purposeful that the first divers to discover them in the 1980s thought they had found a sunken city. The structures stretch for hundreds of feet. Wide steps descend into perfectly geometric layers. Vertical walls rise as if carved by giant tools. Some sections look strangely like corridors or staircases, leading to deeper water. A monolith nearly 20 feet high, its edges meeting at angles too neat to be random. Nearby, a triangular mass looks like a perfectly cut ramp. Below it, massive stone slabs lie stacked like fallen columns. Geologists say the site is natural sandstone, fractured by tectonic pressure, shaped by currents, eroded by time. Swimming through the area, you feel the tension immediately. Some parts look like pure geology, others have an uneasy architectural feel, as if something had been there before the ocean swallowed it. The answer is still unknown. Perhaps it will never be known. Chapter 20, Bimini Road. Just off North Bimini Island, a straight line of giant limestone blocks lies beneath shallow turquoise water. Arranged so neatly they look like the foundations of an ancient pier, forgotten by time. Each block is rectangular, some over 12 feet long, all stacked in a pattern stretching nearly half a mile. The stones lie like paving slabs, 3 rows wide, their edges meeting too closely to resemble a natural rubble field. Some blocks are stacked on top of each other, forming what looks like steps or crumbling walls. Others show smooth, flat surfaces as if they were cut. The area has sparked much speculation for decades, some connected to ancient maritime cultures, others connected to Atlantis myths. Bimini Road looks like a forgotten road carved into the ocean, a doorway to an inexplicable past. Chapter 21. Kolmanskop, Ghost Town. Kolmanskop looks like a town that stopped breathing, silently erased by the desert. Once a thriving German settlement thanks to the diamond rush of the early 1900s. It collapsed overnight when richer mines were found elsewhere. Today, all houses are half buried. Doors open into rooms submerged in waist-high sand dunes. Stairs climb to ceilings that no longer exist. Wallpaper peels in curved strips, revealing colors that somehow survived a century of heat and silence. What surprises visitors most is that everything still remains intact. Bathroom tiles still firmly attached. The chalkboard in the classroom still intact. Kitchen shelves still neatly lined up. Only now the desert has washed over them like flowers. Wind blew sand through the windows, creating gentle waves rising and falling inside each building, turning each room into a miniature desert. Walking through the hospital or ballroom, you feel the soft floor beneath your feet, as if the entire structure is slowly dissolving into sand dunes. Kolmanskop is disappearing, but not in chaos, in silence, with grace. Chapter 21. Kolmanskop, Ghost Town. Kolmanskop looks like a town that stopped breathing, silently erased by the desert. Once a thriving German settlement thanks to the diamond rush of the early 1900s. It collapsed overnight when richer mines were found elsewhere. Today, all houses are half buried. Doors open into rooms submerged in waist-high sand dunes. Stairs climb to ceilings that no longer exist. Wallpaper peels in curved strips, revealing colors that somehow survived a century of heat and silence. What surprises visitors most is that everything still remains intact. Bathroom tiles still firmly attached. The chalkboard in the classroom still intact. Kitchen shelves still neatly lined up. Only now the desert has washed over them like flowers. Wind blew sand through the windows, creating gentle waves rising and falling inside each building, turning each room into a miniature desert. Walking through the hospital or ballroom, you feel the soft floor beneath your feet, as if the entire structure is slowly dissolving into sand dunes. Kolmanskop is disappearing, but not in chaos, in silence, with grace. Chapter 22. Paro Taktsang Monastery. Built in 1692, Paro Taktsang Monastery sits nearly 3,000 feet above the valley floor, on a rocky outcrop no larger than a courtyard, its white walls and golden roof pressed against rough granite, like a swallow's nest. The shock begins when you realize how it was built. Materials were hauled up the cliff by hand along narrow mountain paths. Some pieces carried on monks' backs, others pulled by rope across the chasm. No smooth paths, just steep turns. Stone steps cut into the mountainside, and the air thinning with each ascent. According to legend, Padmasambhava meditated here after flying to the cliff on the back of a tiger. Standing on the balcony, clouds drift across the horizon. The valley lies far below, softened by distance. Inside, prayer halls glow with butter lamps. Outside, cliffs stand sheer, leaving no gaps. The monastery seems to rely as much on faith as on stone. Chapter 23, Kelimutu, Three-Colored Lakes. Kelimutu has more than one volcanic lake. It has 3 lakes side by side in the same crater. Each lake emits a different color, each changing unpredictably over time. 2 lakes share the same mountain, the same rain, the same sunlight, yet one lake can turn deep turquoise, another blood red, and the third sinks into thick black that barely reflects anything. Volcanic gases rise through fissures beneath each lake, stirring different minerals that create chemical reactions: iron, manganese, sulfur, combining and changing formulas that make the lakes change color dramatically. Standing at the lake edge at dawn, the colors become even stranger. The turquoise lake glows like diluted neon. The dark lake swallows light, becoming a black mirror. The red or brown lake between them like a pool of molten metal. Warm, but untouchably cold. Locals believe these lakes hold the souls of the deceased, separated by the lives they lived. Chapter 24, Huacachina Oasis. A lagoon surrounded by towering sand dunes, dunes high enough to swallow the horizon. Yet here in the middle of the Peruvian desert lies an emerald green lake protected by a ring of palm trees. You walk through miles of shifting, wind-eroded, empty sand, and then suddenly a perfect oasis appears, as if someone placed it there for dramatic effect. The lagoon is fed by natural underground springs, rare water pockets trapped beneath layers of desert sediment. Without them, the entire settlement would disappear in days. The dunes around Huacachina tower like walls, some over 90 meters high. Climbing a dune at sunset, the lagoon shrinks to a brilliant emerald dot surrounded by golden shadows. What makes this oasis even more extraordinary is its longevity. Most desert lagoons dry up or migrate over time, but this one has remained in place for generations, kept just right by hidden underground aquifers below. Chapter 25, Panjin Red Beach. Panjin Red Beach is located in China's Bohai Bay, about 40 kilometers from Panjin City, Liaoning Province. The ground turns crimson. The entire coastline transforms into a living carpet of suede. Sueda is a salt-loving plant that starts green in spring and turns brilliant red in fall. Almost digital, this isn't a small patch of color. It's the world's largest wetland of its kind, stretching for miles across the tidal flats near Panjin. At its peak, the landscape transforms into a crimson ocean, water literally weaving through the vegetation like dark winding rivers. Sueda can only grow in highly saline marshes, and it can only achieve its blood-red hue after enduring months of harsh coastal conditions. Most plants die in such salty water. Sueda thrives, turning the entire ecosystem into a living pigment. Walking along the elevated boardwalk, you see the wetlands stretching in all directions. A velvety red plain with distinctive texture, broken only by narrow channels where birds gather in flocks. Every tide creates color. Every wind blows waves through the vegetation, like movement on canvas. Chapter 26, Kawah Ijen, Blue Flames. Kawah Ijen is known for its 1 kilometer wide turquoise crater lake, one of the most acidic bodies of water on Earth. Below the rim, sulfur-rich gases escape through vents at temperatures high enough to ignite on contact with oxygen, producing the blue flames that make this crater unique. Some flicker like sparks, others rise several meters, lighting the rock walls in darkness. In places, the gas condenses into liquid sulfur, flowing downhill in glowing streams, before cooling into bright yellow crystals at sunrise. Miners navigate the fumes and fire at night, extracting solid sulfur by hand. Chapter 27, Giant Selenite Crystals. 800 feet below, the air became hot and thick. Then the crystals appeared, giant masses, some over 30 feet long, stretching across the chamber like frozen lightning bolts. These were selenite crystals, the largest ever found on Earth. They formed slowly inside a pocket of mineral-rich water. Undisturbed for hundreds of thousands of years, the temperature remained near 130 degrees Fahrenheit, about 60 degrees Celsius, ideal for continuous growth. As miners pumped away groundwater, the chamber dried, and the crystals emerged from darkness intact. Individual beams weighed tons. Their surfaces glowed softly, reflecting light like etched glass. Some grew parallel, others intersected at sharp angles, forming geometric pillars you could climb if the temperature didn't make prolonged exposure dangerous. Humidity is almost 100%, and the heat can suffocate visitors within minutes without protective gear. Chapter 28, Crooked Forest. The crooked forest looked normal until its trunks bent. Hundreds of pines, each sharply bent at the base in a perfect 90-degree curve, then straightening again, each leaning northward at the same angle as if shaped by a single deliberate act. Theories ranged from tree-shaping experiments to wartime machinery, but none quite fit. Standing among them felt like walking through rows of wooden question marks, precise, synchronized, yet completely unexplained. Chapter 29, Taylor Glacier. Blood falls at the edge of Taylor Glacier. A crimson streak stretches across pristine white ice, a color so vivid the glacier looks injured. About 5 million years ago, a pocket of ancient seawater was trapped beneath the glacier, in total darkness, cut off from oxygen, isolated from the outside world. The water evolved into a brine so salty it remains liquid even at sub-zero temperatures. Inside is a microbial ecosystem unlike any other on Earth. Creatures survive without sunlight, feeding on iron and sulfur in complete isolation. When the brine finally seeps through cracks in the ice, the iron inside oxidizes when exposed to air, turning the water blood red the moment it emerges. The water remains hidden hundreds of feet below, sealed in conditions similar to what scientists predict on icy moons like Europa. In Antarctica's silence, the crimson streak looks almost unreal, a glacier oozing the memory of a vanished ocean. Chapter 30, Bryce Canyon, Hoodoos. Bryce Canyon isn't really a canyon. It's a vast natural amphitheater of sandstone cliffs, with thousands of towering rock formations rising closely together. They look like an army frozen mid-March. These rock formations are called hoodoos, some just a few feet high, others over 150 feet tall, stacked in thin, uneven layers of red, orange, and white. According to Paiute legend, the hoodoos in the canyon were created by the coyote who turned the gluttonous Tuwinanungwa people into stone. Water is the sculptor here. In winter, meltwater seeps into tiny cracks in the rock. Overnight, it freezes and expands, splitting the rocks one by one. Thousands of freeze-thaw cycles collapse the weaker sections, leaving tall, narrow pinnacles that look almost intentional. The descent into the maze was even stranger. Towering spires flanked the path, turning it into a stone corridor whose hues changed with the sun's angle. Some hoodoos were supported by heavy solid boulders that sheltered the slender pillars below, giving them strange silhouettes resembling watchmen, monks, sentinels, anything imagination could conjure. In closing, emotional finale. Each journey through these magnificent landscapes reminds us of something. Earth never repeats itself. Its beauty appears in unexpected forms. Pink lakes, blue fire, floating mountains, forests carved from stone. Each place has its own story, its own rhythm, and its own way of reshaping how we see the world. Which of these places would you want to see first? Tell us in the comments, and subscribe so you don't miss the most incredible hidden paradises on this planet. Because in our next video, even more incredible places await you. We'll show you the most mysterious monasteries of the Himalayas, creatures glowing in the ocean depths, and rock formations that look man-made but are completely natural. See you next time, where the unexpected is still waiting to be seen.